Hello, I'm Joe from Cheap Joe's Art Stuff, and I'm just so honored today to have with me Sterling Edwards.
Thank you.
And the paintings that you just looked at before we began this little interview are Sterling's, and he has just completed a week of teaching here at Cheap Joe's. And Sterling, we're so glad to have you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You bet, glad to have you. And I hear wonderful things. You know what I heard this week, I always love hearing this, is that there are good artists and there are good teachers, but very few good artist teachers. Sterling's one of those.
Well, I appreciate that.
Everybody says what a great job you do teaching, and your work is just incredible.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and the fun shows up in your paintings. That's a neat thing too. You can tell, I think, I look at a lot of art and I think it's easy to see who's had fun doing this sort of thing. But you have an interesting career.
Oh, I do.
Tell us just briefly how you got into art and how long you've been doing art.
Well, actually, I started painting when I was 12. I was a very bad student in school. I sat there and drew pictures in class. And at a PTA meeting one time, the teacher showed my parents some of my drawings and said he's flunking, but he does nice art. And she encouraged my parents to get me some art lessons. So they did. I started taking oil painting lessons. And I've always just had my hand in either a set of paints or a pencil or something. And in 1985, I actually got serious about it and started studying watercolors. And I spent many years studying with Zoltan Szabo, who unfortunately passed away 5 years ago. But he was a great mentor for me. And this thing eventually evolved from being just a profitable hobby to being a full-time career. I spent 20 years in law enforcement in the meantime. So it's, I've kind of been around the block and came in the back door, I guess, as far as the art career is concerned.
That's great. Yeah. Mentioning Zoltan Szabo, one of the first workshops I ever took was Zoltan.
Oh, he was fabulous.
Up in Warm Springs, Virginia, he did a workshop there, I think. And I loved that sort of thing. You're in galleries around, and you're actually teaching around the world.
Well, I teach mostly in the U.S. and Canada.
Right.
I'm getting ready to go to Newfoundland in about 2 weeks, and then in September I'll be going to Nova Scotia. And I've been teaching in Canada now for about 6 years, and coast to coast in the United States.
Isn't that great?
It is. I love it.
So it's you meet people all over, and you see a lot of art. I know.
I do, and I'll tell you something. I know you know this. Having doing an artist and doing workshops, artists are fantastic people.
Oh, they are.
We see the world through different eyes, and we see all the little things that the average person does not see. And for me as a teacher, it's so invigorating to get in a class because we're all kindred spirits. We all appreciate the subtle things in nature, the pretty shadows and the positive shapes and negative shapes, and it's just the most incredible lifestyle I can imagine.
Isn't that great?
It is. I
love it too. I know we're very fortunate. Now you're doing this full time now, aren't you?
Yes.
Painting and teaching.
I've been doing it full time for 7 years now.
For 7 years.
Right.
Well, I admire anyone who can make their living today in art and in doing art, and I think that's so exciting. What do you see for the future of art? I know it's a little slow right now.
It is. Right now the economy is taking a hit, and people are slowing down a little bit, myself included.
Sure.
But I do know this, there are a lot of people out there, especially the baby boomers, they're all getting ready to retire in the next 10, 12 years, and they've always wanted to take lessons, a lot of them. And they're going to have the time and the resources to do it. I think the future for art instruction is very big.
Right.
I just finished writing a book for Northlight. The book should be out probably in the spring of 2010.
Oh, how exciting. Tell us the name of the book.
Well, the name of the book, assuming they keep the title I suggested, the name of the book is Creating Luminous Watercolor Landscapes / a 4-step process. It's actually a 4-step process I developed about 5 years ago to take you right through the painting process of doing a watercolor, whether you're painting a portrait or a landscape or a still life or abstract or anything else. This 4-step process gives you a structured approach to doing a watercolor painting. So I'm excited about that.
You bet. Well, we'll have to get you back here for a signing.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Certainly, I hope we've got you scheduled again for another workshop in the future.
We do. I was just talking to Carolyn about it a few minutes ago.
Oh, good.
Cheap Joe's is a great place. And I will say this, this gentleman right here helped me get my start, because when I first started doing workshops, I was trying to break into a new market, and Joe was very helpful and very generous in helping me get my foot in the door and got this thing off and running. So I'm very grateful to you.
Well, and I appreciate that, Sterling. You told me that last night, and I am grateful for that. But what you've done, and we're very proud of that and very honored to have you here.
Well, thank you so much.
You're a big part of our workshop schedule, And so we're just tickled to death that you're a part of our family.
Well, it works both ways.
And
Really
we
does.
have some more paintings of Sterling's we want you to see as we conclude this. And Sterling, thank you again.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Very much.
I appreciate it.
You bet.